So based on the conversation I've been having recently, I feel like like you said, the artist journey is what makes you an artist. And then what I'm noticing is when you go on the artist journey and becoming an artist, you figure out who you are. And I feel like the things, the materials that are real, that exist, it's the stuff you've made. So that's like the proof and the evidence that you are an artist. And I would argue that you'll see parts of you coming out of the stuff that you've made. And me being an artist, I totally feel like the journey and the process and the discipline and the regimen and all that stuff far supersedes what I'm making. I feel like what I'm making is just the stuff that gets left behind. That's like evidence of this journey. On some old, I think it's like the artwork is like the secret treasure. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you going on this mission, you going on this journey. These are your souvenirs. Like this is the stuff that represents your travel.
Yeah.
Yep, I think.
It's about evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Creation.
Yep. And I feel like I'm enjoying people use all these different terms for the creative person and creative expressor. And the reason why I'm enjoying it is because I feel like everybody ain't an artist. And I feel like you got a lot of creative people, a lot of people who love making shit who are not artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I feel like ain't nobody really having that conversation.
That's real.
I feel like I'm watching people stay away from defining what an artist is. So in my mind, shit, I'm about to define who I am. And I recognize that I'm an artist. So once I define myself,
Yeah. That's why I asked you that, because there definitely are, I don't want to call them perpetrators, but like there are definitely people who like kind of maneuver under the guise of artists, but it's like you're not really an artist. You just make shit. Like you are doing you did something, you came up with some shit, you had an idea. But there's a difference between, there's like a lack of like true artistry.
right? Yeah.
So I like the fact that you said you do like that people come around with these other terms, because it allows like differentiation. Like, okay, yeah, you over here, you're not an artist, you're a creator.
Yeah, I'm a creative.
Yeah.
You know, people say that like crazy. When they say it, I don't even know if they really recognize what they're saying.
You know?
What I hear is, oh, you ain't trying to say nothing. You like making stuff. Because I'm that too. I'm a creative. I love making shit. But it goes far beyond that. And a part of it makes me part of that whole artist, creative, and all that kind of conversation, and the work being, in my opinion, a little less significant or less important, is it's like a reward. You know, so if I'm trying to become myself, right, and making shit is got me on that journey of becoming myself, I realize and I can see when I grow based on my work. But I try not to celebrate the growth. You know, I try to use it. So that's another example of me feeling like the artwork comes secondary. You know, because people love it. You know, I fucking love it. But I don't really hear that shit too hard, because in my mind, being good don't mean shit. Like being good at making shit don't mean nothing unless you make it mean something. So I feel like I don't know, I'm gonna come up with the little bullet points of what makes you an artist. Like what's the key, what's the ingredients?
Yeah.
Because there is an ingredients to being an artist. I mean, because I look at people who, I don't know, I feel like if you don't need to be doing this, you ain't no artist. Like you doing it because you want to do it, you can do it, you can afford to do it, you ain't got nothing else to do, then you something else. You know what I'm saying? Like I really look at the fact that this shit done supported my whole life. Like literally, my whole life.
So it's like for some folks, it's like a hobby.
Yeah, for a lot of people it's a hobby. it ain't no hobby for me. I ain't been able to afford to allow it to only be a hobby. It was answering way more questions than keeping me busy, or I like doing it. I'm scared to stop. I don't know how to stop. These are the kind of things that go in my mind. Like, I would be doing this shit for free if I could afford to. I don't know, so yeah.
Okay, so, and that's why I asked, because I think it's interesting, the quote that the artist journey is the only thing that makes you an artist, emphasis on the journey. And so I was just thinking about your journey, and your journey took you to New York City and then brought you back to Cleveland. And then now that you're back here, and you've been back here for a minute, and you've like completely submersed yourself in the local Cleveland art scene.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've heard the stories about how trippy it is.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, yo, I'm not even really submersed,
Right.
But, and then there are a lot of people who maybe are, I'm assuming, that are on that fringe of, full-time artists, part-time creator, hobby people, who also ain't hip to
Exactly.
the legit like art community and how trippy it can be.
Yeah, they not even a part of the art world.
Right. And then if you want to get into the art world, I'm sure that shit is trippy, trying to navigate as like somebody who's black or somebody of color.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so can you speak to that? Because I know.
Yeah, I mean, navigating the art world in Cleveland. So when I first moved back to Cleveland, right? I reference movies like crazy. So when I hear terms like how to be a player, that's one of my favorite movies. And you seen how to be a player, dude breaking down the whole game, right? So whatever I learned and took from that movie, when I moved back to Cleveland, I said when I get back to Cleveland, I want to be a player. I don't want to be, and I didn't even really know that I was saying I don't want to be a piece on the board. So in all of my interactions with kind of reintroducing myself with Cleveland's art world, and introducing myself as an adult to the Cleveland art world for the first time, that's what I knew. I wanted to be a player. I didn't want to be positioned. I really wasn't asking nobody for nothing. I didn't know it was opportunities, quote unquote, for artists that do whatever the fuck. Like, I didn't know it was money. I didn't know it was grants. I didn't know that's how my early part of my creative career even started. I wanted to be a figure. When people say Cleveland art world, I wanted my name to mean something to that. So navigating it for me was easy. And the reason why I say navigating it for me was easy is because the work opened the doors. You see what I'm saying? And when the doors was opening up, I recognized that it was people feeling some kind of way because they been trying to get into those doors. See, but I was being invited because I wasn't asking. Because I come from a completely different world where none of this shit really mean nothing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know that I didn't get marketed to and the promotion from the museums and all that kind of shit. I didn't know that. So I got people telling me, oh, it's an application. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And after being solicited to apply for this shit after a while, it was kind of like, wait a minute, this shit is some bullshit. This shit feel like college. This feel like somebody telling me that I should apply for something that's got some imperfections that don't allow me to break through. So then I'm like, okay. So when y'all telling all these black people in Cleveland that your work is good or not good, and all these niggas getting rejected from shit, I started to become a symbol of something's wrong with the system, because it started to become, Donald, you didn't get that. I thought you always get this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not a token. And if people think I'm a token, I'm like that special little token. I'm like the one that you take to Chuck E. Cheese and you can't use that shit nowhere else. So it's kind of like I get invited to submit when I got to compete against other niggas to do some nigga shit,